Research agencies are being asked to rebuild the business, not just the toolkit. AI has arrived. Clients are asking what you are doing about it this quarter, and AI-moderated qualitative research is the phrase in most of those conversations. Budgets have been cut, and client-side insights teams are shrinking, so the people who commission your work have less money and fewer colleagues. Their briefs did not get smaller. And the competition is no longer the agency across town, because AI-native agencies are bidding on the same briefs and going straight to your clients. The agencies that come through will not be the ones that survived it, but the ones that used it to sell something they could not sell before. Most agencies sell 2 research offerings today, and each one stops short in a different place. Surveys are the first. They give you quant and scale, so you can field 1,000 respondents and put a number on everything. What a survey cannot do is tell you why, because it returns what people clicked and nothing underneath it. Surveys also carry a data quality exposure, because fraudulent and inattentive respondents are a standing risk in any panel you buy. Human-moderated Qual is the second. It reaches the why better than anything else in the business. What it cannot do is scale. A senior moderator runs 5 to 10 in-depth interviews in a week. A full service study takes 4 to 8 weeks and costs a client $15,000 to $30,000, and recruiting decides whether a brief is feasible at all. 2 offerings, 2 different limits, and neither one covers both. So the question every interesting brief asks is the one neither offering can answer. How do you get the why at scale, quickly, and without a quality problem? A brief needing 1,000 respondents and the reasoning behind them has nowhere to go. It gets split into 2 projects and billed twice, which clients push back on. It gets bid slowly and lost to someone faster. Or it gets turned away, which costs the most and appears on no invoice. That brief arrives more often now, and few are set up to win it. User intuition fills that gap. It delivers the depth of a senior researcher at the scale of a survey, and user intuition calls that combination qual at quant scale. Neither of your 2 offerings reaches it on its own. Its AI moderator runs every conversation and ladders 5, 6, 7 layers down on each one. No 2 conversations come out the same, because the moderator follows each participant wherever the answers go. What holds constant is the rigor, so interview 100 reaches the same depth against the same objectives as interview 1. And it can run 200 interviews in 24 hours, drawing participants from a 4 million person vetted panel. This is the same job an agency already sells. What changes is the unit of production underneath it. Depth is what an agency is paid for, so here is what it looks like. This is an example walkthrough of the probes the user intuition moderator asks. A client brief asks why repeat purchase fell last quarter, and the first answer is the one every survey returns, which is that it got expensive. A survey stops there. The deck says price, the client cuts price, and repeat purchase does not move. User intuition does not stop there. Asked what they bought instead, they had tried the store brand during a promotion, which nothing in the brief anticipated. Asked why they never went back, they said they did not know. So the moderator came at it from another angle and asked what had changed in how they shop. They had moved their groceries online. Asked what that changed, the brand was not in a reorder list and was hard to find in the app's aisle. In this walkthrough, the user intuition moderator turned a pricing question into a findability problem. The brand lost the routine rather than the price war. Cutting price would have burned margin and changed nothing. The recommendation is to win back the place in the reorder list rather than fund a discount. What this unlocks for an agency is the number of briefs you can say yes to, and it comes from 2 things. The first is consolidation. Take the questions in a survey that always need a follow-up call and run them as interviews against the same sample in the same week. The brief that used to be 2 projects becomes 1 study. The second is speed. A study fielded to the vetted consumer panel returns results in 24 hours, so a brief that lands on Monday can have evidence behind it on Tuesday. Both of those rest on what the study itself carries. On depth, every insight traces to the verbatim that produced it, and every verbatim deep links to the moment in the call. So when a client challenges a finding in the readout, you open the moment and let the participants say it. Each finding carries a count, so you report how many people said a thing, rather than that several did. On quality, user intuition scores every interview on length, depth, and coverage of the objectives, and an interview that fails is never billed. You can over-recruit without overpaying, and promise a client a quality floor instead of a sample size. Participants come from a vetted panel with multi-layer fraud screening, and they rate the experience at 98% satisfaction, and results can be read while the study is still in field. On reach, the same study can run as voice, chat, or video in more than 50 languages, so a global brief stops being 3 vendors. That is consolidation again, in another dimension. And every study an agency runs on user intuition lands in the same searchable intelligence hub, so the second study for a client starts from the first one rather than from nothing. Cost is where all of that turns into margin. Studies start at $150, and the per interview rate comes down to about $25 on Pro. There is no annual contract and no lock-in. Recruiting cost passes straight through to the participant. Set that against a traditional study at $15,000 to $30,000, and you price the work at agency rates and keep the difference. So an agency, under margin and AI pressure, can now sell Qual at quant scale, which is the one thing neither surveys nor human-moderated Qual delivers on its own. Test it on a brief you have already bid. Run it as one study, put the results and its cost next to the traditional quote, and let the client say which one they would rather buy. Start at www.userintuition.ai.